was owned by a guy whose last name escapes me. His first name was Tom. And he had go-karts. He used to sell go-karts at our store a lot. And I got there, and this is one of those, I don't know, 2002, 2003, something like that. I got there to do some training. And the sales manager had it set up that they would work until 6, and then I was going to train from 6 to 10 that night, and then come back the next day and do some training. Problem is, they didn't tell a single staff member that I was coming in to train from 6 to 10. So everybody's pushing the bikes in, and they're like, can we help you? I'm like, yeah, I'm just here to do the training. My name's Sam. They're like, what are you talking about? What training? Well, you guys are all here for a 6 to 10 training. You know what the tone of that room was when we started? That's exactly right. And the sales managers are right on the right eye. You sons of bitches, our sales suck this month. You're going to listen to Sam. Go ahead, Sam. Are you freaking kidding me? Okay. Somebody get the whiskey. Kyle.
My name's Kyle Blumberg. Southern California Motorcycles in Brea. And I've been doing motorcycle sales for about a year and a half. I got into sales starting with car buying service. Car sales. Motorcycles.
See, on the auto side, what percent of the population of the country you think have a car? 80 to 90? I don't know. And there are pockets that don't have cars in congested areas, but most people have cars. What percent of the population of the country have a motorcycle? You know where that number comes from? Other than I say it every time I go somewhere? Let me show you where the number comes from so you actually can quote it. There's 2 data points that go into that 3%, and the answer is 3. Hang on, I don't know why that thing's bouncing. Here's the first one. Right there. 3.2 motorcycles in use for every 100 people. And by the way, all the data comes in 2014. They spent 2015 compiling it. So if you see 2014, it's because there's a lag in putting the data to publish. 3.2 motorcycles in use for every 100 people. Well, 3.2%. How many of you have a power sport product? How many of you have more than one? See, we totally screw the math up. You can't just take the number and divide it by the number of people and get an accurate count, right? So if you scroll down to people who have more than one, where was that? Nope. $10.1 million motorcycles in use by 9.2 million owners. More than one. If you take that piece of the math and throw it into the first piece, you will get 2.88% of America plays in the motorcycle space. 2.88. Why do I care that you know that number? Love the salesman in you. The headroom that says, well, it's a big window of people who need what I have. That's part of it. That's part of it. As opposed to the window, if 90% of America has a car, that's a small window of people I can sell to, other than them getting another car, right? That's one way to look at it. Why else do I care? That's a small amount of people to work with. And more importantly, I want you to value the door swing. I want you to think that every time that door swings open, this is the greatest thing in the world. Because I could have done all that homework online. Instead, I got in a car and I came to see you. And only 3% of America plays in our space. And that dude took time out of his day to come into this store. That's a big deal. And a lot of people don't treat it like a big deal. They say, oh yeah, well, you want to talk to him or should I? I'll go talk to him. That's not a big deal. I can feel it in you that that's not a big deal, and so can the customer. The lady who's in charge for the experience at the customer, or at the BMW automotive experience. She's in charge of the automotive experience. She's not in charge of automotive sales. She's in charge of the experience at automotive stores for BMW. Her words are, a customer is a luxury, and I want my salespeople to respond accordingly. Now just think of that. That door swings open, do you think, oh, what a luxury? Might be a little far-fetched for some of you. Right? Especially if you're hungover. Luxury. You take them. Right? It's not necessarily a luxury. I want you to perceive it as a luxury, because for those of you who are in the industry in 07 and 08, you know the door didn't always swing open. right? For those of you, we went from 7,500 dealers in this country to 4,600. 7,500 to 4,600. We're about 4,650 right now, right? That's that many stores that just turned the key because people didn't walk in. And those of us who were in the industry, we remember it got quiet for a long damn time. And that door swung open. It's a big deal. It's kind of like if you guys ring a bell when someone buys a bike, right? It's really cool. And then eventually you're like, oh, there's that bell again. Wait, you should get excited about that. It's when the bell doesn't go off that I want you rolling your eyes, right? I want you excited by the customer. So very small percentage. So back from the automotive side of the fence, if 90% of the people have a car, you can get away with stuff. You can get away with shady, smarmy, slick sales training and get away with it because the guy needs what you have and you have something that 90% of the country needs. There's the line's 5 deep of people walking into a car store every day. Not so in the motorcycle community, right? Keep going, Adam. What position? Service manager. How you liking it? What do you sell? Trust, confidence, quality repairs. Trust, confidence, human traits, right? I like it. How's the family? How's Laura? How's Laura? Got married? Right on. She at the store? Yeah, still there. Crystal?
My name is Crystal. I'm from Bucks Motorsports as well. I went to school for player science and business management. I got hurt when I was better. So my brother was actually working alongside me in business owner. So I started doing clothing and then doing parts and accessories and now parts.
Cool. You digging it? 80% of America, according to Deloitte Shift Index, hates their job. 80%. That corporate gig you had all teed up? A lot of us in the room had that corporate gig and left it to work in the industry that we have passion for. Right? What does that do? It sets the tone for who's walking in the door. Who's walking in your door? The guy walking in your door is the guy, and I keep saying guy. 14% women. Still dominated by men. That number's up from 10, by the way. That's a big jump this year, from 10 to 14, and that's a good thing for our industry. Why is that good for the industry? More people, that's one reason. What if I just took the 3% to 3.1%, but it was all guys? What do women also like to do? Shop. Guess what? You know what happens when Mama Bear has a motorcycle and she's shopping? Guess what it makes it okay for me to do? Come to the shop, trade up more often. It's a good thing on many, many levels, right? But when I talk about the guy coming in your store, it's because it's still predominantly men playing in our industry, right? What was my question to you guys? I forgot it. Huh? Well, it must not have been that important. What do you sell, Crystal? Relationships. Is that just because that's what you've heard, or that's what? Dave.
Hi, I'm Dave Pagano with Bucks Motorsports here in Buffalo. In Buffalo, New York. 25 years in the car business. I made the switch over about 9 months.
Am I off base? Am I thinking on cars?
No, you're not. I mean, if you boil it all down, the process is the same, building value is the same, building relationships is the same, but there's a different spin on it. It's much more of a relaxed selling environment when you're dealing with power sports versus the car business. But pressure, but you can't miss the steps. You got to stay in front of your people. I mean, there's many similarities, but there's also many things that are very contradictory.
So one of our very good friends who is a GM at Fay Myers, Jason White, been a friend of mine for a very long time. They're owned by an automotive entity, Champ, and they just put up 2 brand new buildings. They have a huge BMW store on the south side of town. They put up a huge Mini store and a Honda store right next to it. And they've been wanting to use Jason on the automotive side of the fence for a long time. And he finally got lured away with the promise that if he didn't like it, he would at least learn a lot, and then they put him back on the motorcycle side of the fence. So he goes over there, and they have a sales process, and he said, I would love for you to just come in and just tell me what you think of the sales process, because it's unlike any automotive anything you've ever been through. I said, all right, so I'll go over there, expecting a traditional automotive-based sales process. And I walk in the door, And one of the first questions out of the gate, and they've got some very young, and I don't necessarily mean young in age, although some of them are very young in age, young in attitude people up near the front. And their question is, hey, we're so glad you're here. Are you here for product information, pricing information, or a little bit of both? And if they say product information, then that's your guy, whoever greeted you. They're a product specialist. Hey, I'm just here to talk to you about the product, and let me walk you around. And they get to know you on that level and have a great time with you showing you product. If you say pricing or a little of the above, then I turn you over to Steve, one of my seasoned guys, right? And you got to know, I hated it right out of the gate. Because everything I teach is get to know the person before you ever start talking about product. And your first question is it product or pricing or a little bit of both? And I'm, geez, right? So I'm already in a negative space that they're going to have to pull me out of if I'm going to be open-minded about the sales process. And I said, well, a little bit of both then. So pull me over and I get Steve. And so Steve pulls me aside and he says, we do things a little bit differently here. And if you give me the opportunity, I'd just kind of like to explain it to you because it's very non-traditional. That'd be all right if I explain it to you? Come, have a seat over here. And so they've got these high back